pass this back on. Safety first.
Oh, safety first. Safety first. So, Steve, I heard you know a little secret on how to cut perfect strips every time.
Ah.
Are the rumors true?
The rumors are true, and I wish I could lay claim to it, but I learned from others. It's definitely not a secret, but not everyone's heard it, so let's share it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Sometimes somebody will look at this big piece of glass and say, oh, I only need a little strip off of it, and they would try to score a little tiny strip and break it off.
Yep.
And you can do it, it's been done.
It's
so
works.
difficult, right?
I can attest
And so
to that.
the best rule to follow is what I call the law of halves. It's so much easier to cut things in half,
Okay.
and then in half, and then in half, and just keep going in halves. So I don't need this whole piece of glass, and I actually don't want to cut it in half because I don't even need the full half. So I'm not going to go completely to half, but at least if I have closer to a half, when I make my first run, I got a much better chance of having a nice clean run, and then everything after that can be in halves, and I can get down to real small pieces. So that's what we're going to do. And the other great thing about using something like the Morton system here is I can actually run a bunch of different strips before I even start, or I can score a bunch of strips at the different increments that I need and then run them all at once.
And even measure them as well here, since you've got a handy little ruler as well to say, okay, you know, I have a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch strip. Since you said that you're cutting different strips, I figure it's probably nice to have a ruler at the
Absolutely.
At the edge of it too.
Absolutely. And the Morton system will allow you to get as precise as you want, or you can be close. And this, I like their little ruler system here. It's pretty neat. It's got American units on one side and then metric units on the other. So you can flip it around and work in whatever units you want. In this case, we'll just go to American units. Most people are used to that. However, I will say I like working in metric system because dividing 36 is way easier than 2 3/8.
That's fair. That's a fair feeling.
So regardless, let's go here. Let's start. We're going to do a couple of 1-inch strips first.
Okay.
Let's say I need 2 1-inch strips for my project. So I'm going to go ahead and score those down. And I like the wider head against this bar. It does make it just a little more meat to score. That's great. There's my first one. Now I'm going to move my score line down to the 1 right on the ruler. So I'm getting 2 1-inch strips. And that's helpful. Now for my project, what's the next size we need?
Let's do a 1/2 inch.
1/2 inch?
Let's cut it in half, yeah.
All right, so now I'm going to move my latest score line I made to the 1/2 inch mark. And I'm going to go ahead and make a couple scores there. And I'll do one more. There we go. If I had to be extremely precise, I would be using stops, they call them, which are little blocks that you can put in and it'll only move to where that block is. Here I'm eyeballing it. It could be off by a fraction, maybe a 64th or a 32nd, but it's all a matter of how precise you want.
A pass.
I'm going to get a pass on this one?
Yeah,
all right.
maybe a pass on this one.
Thanks. How about 1/4 inch? You need some
Let's do
1/4
it,
inch strips?
yeah.
All right, let's do a couple 1/4 inch strips. All right.
I want to see how thin you can cut strips. Oh my god.
So now we've got all our scores. We got 2 1/4, 2 1/2, and 2 1-inch. So I'm going to start with the innermost score. That's the one we're going to run first.
Okay.
Oh, like butter. Look at that. Came right off. And now I'm looking for 1/2. So I'm going to go to the middlemost score.
Ah.
Butter. Our 1-inch scores.
Beautiful.
And again, I'm going to go to the one that's closest to the middle. It doesn't have to be, but it definitely runs much easier. There we go.
This is our 1/2 inch.
1/2 inch.
Boom.
And then we've got our 1/4 inch. Ooh, now look at that. It went part of the way. It didn't go all the way, but I'm just going to keep running it right along the score line there. There you go. So I just kept running and pushing with my finger along the score line and bam.
Wow, look at that.
There you go. Now we're going to try it again. Now this one, okay, so my finger's having trouble getting on there, so I'm going to switch to this. And I like this because, again, I have a lot of control. I could maybe use a running plier on this too. I could use a grozer. We're gonna align this with the score line. I drew a line on mine. It aligns with the score, and press. And then I'm gonna keep running it down the line.
And so you're just encouraging that
I
to
am.
break perfectly, right down the middle.
Exactly. Oh, did you hear that?
I heard it. I think you're
And
gonna get lucky.
You can actually back up a little bit. You can go forward. Looks like we're getting there. That sounded pretty good to me. We got a little piece back here. We're gonna come back and just make sure.
I see it.
You see it?
I see it, yep.
Oh, it's real close.
Oh,
There
look
we go.
at that.
Couple of nice
Magic.
strips. So quarter, half, 3/4, 1 inch strips, real easy. So that's the law of halves when you're running glass, and that's the secret.
The key to the perfect strips. Well, thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.